Hello and welcome to episode 148 of AviaDev Insight Africa, the podcast dedicated to the world of African aviation, with your host, John Howell, CEO and founder of AviaDev Africa. Today's episode features Chidozie Uzoezie, who is a key figure in African tourism and aviation. He is also the founder of the African Aviation Group on Facebook, which everybody listening should join. And if you're not a member, why are you not a member? We'll put the link in the show notes so you can get onto that platform. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in the show. Chidozie is based in Lagos, Nigeria. He's also the CEO of the afritraveler.com, which is a website that's been a supporter of AviaDev since inception. And Chidozie is a prolific content creator, so you'll see him all over the internet on a regular basis. Today, I want to have a chat with Chidozie to talk about how he built the community, how he sees the future of aviation and tourism in Africa, especially for the next generation who are particularly active on the Facebook group and particularly implicated in the current environment and the things that are going on globally at the moment. So welcome to the podcast, Chidozie.
Thanks for having me, John. I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. So let us know, where did your interest begin in tourism and aviation? You know, what sparked it all in the first place?
Perhaps the first thing you need to know about me is about my growing up. And perhaps the first thing you need to know about my growing up is that I wasn't born with a silver spoon, the proverbial silver spoon. In fact, I wasn't born with any spoon at all, perhaps a rubber spoon or a plastic spoon. So growing up in my village in Anambra State in Nigeria, aviation wasn't something I had the luxury of knowing about. In those days, if you were doing well in school, if you were a sharp kid in school, you were going to do medicine or law or engineering, but nobody knew about anything about aviation, aircraft engineer, ATC. I mean, we all wanted to be something in medicine or in law, and that was the background I had. So growing up, I didn't know anything about aviation. The closest I came to aviation was those times we were looking at aircraft overflying our village and our state. We used to sing to them and ask them to throw down money to us. So that was the closest I got to aviation, sadly. So my earliest memory of aviation knowledge is actually when I was already an adult. However, when I was in primary school, we used to go to excursion to airports, Enugu Airport in those days. And one of those days I went there, we got there, and in those days, there weren't too many aircraft movements at the airport. Perhaps 1 or 2 flights in a day. By the time we got there, the aircraft had come and gone. It was only flight for the day, so I was sad. But I was happy I had eventually seen an airport. It was a very exciting day for me. Although I didn't get to see an aircraft, but I saw an airport and the airport vicinity. So that was my growing up. I didn't have much exposure to the aviation world, but here I am today. Like I said, calling 1 or 2 shots in the industry. So I'm happy, even though I didn't turn out to be an aviation, a pilot or a cabin crew or a core aviator. I'm happy I'm doing what I'm doing. So that was my growing up, John.
So how old were you when you took your first flight, and where did you go?
Funny enough, I was an adult. I had finished my youth service corps in Jigawa State in the northern part of Nigeria, and I took a flight from Kano to Lagos. It was an hour flight and 10 minutes. It was IRS, which has gone moribund, sadly. That was my first flight. Something happened before that first flight. Interestingly, if you remember, there was a plane crash around 2001. EAS plane crash that killed around 148 people. You understand? That plane crash happened just 2 days before my first flight.
Oh, wow.
I was supposed to fly with a colleague, a friend, corps member. We had finished serving together. We were supposed to fly down to Lagos from Kano. But she said she wasn't going to fly anymore. But I said I must fly. I was going to fly. So I went ahead and bought my ticket. I didn't know much about aviation then. I was still very much afraid of aviation occurrences, but it was a risk I was willing to take. And I took that risk from Kano to Lagos, 1 hour, 15 minutes. It was a flight I enjoyed, even though I didn't know anything there. I didn't know much about takeoff, cruise, landing, takeoff, fuel, and all of those. But I enjoyed it, and the aviator in me was somewhere in my seat taking notes. So that was my first flight, but I nearly didn't take that flight because of fear of crash because of there had been a plane crash in Nigeria a couple of days earlier.
Wow, I mean that's a really exciting, interesting story, and yeah, just before your first flight as well to have that happen. So, would you say you were more of an aviator or a tourism person?
I am more of an aviation person than tourism.
Good, good.
Yeah,
We'd like to hear that on the podcast. That's good.
Before I discovered tourism, I was already consumed by aviation. It had taken the whole of me. When I was in London doing my second degree, University of East London, I used to leave my house, my school in East London. I'm sure you know London very well. To Heathrow. These are two different extremes. Heathrow is there, East London is there. And interestingly, in my school, University of East London, there's an airport there, London City Airport, just opposite my school. When I could go and watch the small aircraft, the A319, the Embraer, the Fokker, but I didn't get to see the heavies. So that wasn't enough for me. So I had to regularly go to West London, where Heathrow is, to play sports. You understand? I had to take bus for hours.
Yeah, to see the big guys.
I didn't have much money to take train. I was a student then. I didn't have much money, so I would take a train and a bus for 4 hours to Heathrow, and just look at the heavies, the A380s, the 747, the 777, the 340s, the A330s, the 767. I didn't get to see those at London City Airport, so it was aviation took the whole of me. I was possessed when I was there, and it was never really enough for me. In fact, on one occasion, I was nearly knocked down by a moving bus because I was trying to cross over to M24 to watch aircraft take off and land. That has been the journey. Aviation has taken the whole of me. I don't know how to explain it. I don't even know how to explain my love for aviation. It's something I can't explain. I get asked this question a lot, but funny enough, I don't have a clear answer. Aviation took over my life, and I'm loving it, really. I'm loving it. I'm not sure I could have done it, even though I have a background in something that's unrelated to aviation. As a matter of fact, I have 2 degrees in medicine, one from Nigeria and one from UK. In fact, my second degree was first class degree, and I don't get to talk about it. You understand? I did biomedical science, bioinformatics. Not many people in Nigeria have this degree, but it's something I don't boast about because it doesn't really give me joy and happiness. But aviation is what gives me happiness. You understand? I did 2 degrees in medicine. You understand? 2 prestigious degrees in medicine, one from Nigeria and the one from UK. But you don't catch me talking about these things.
Yeah, it's not the passion,
yeah,
although
it's not my passion. Whenever you see me talk about something, it's about aviation. It's about aviation. It's about aviation. I don't talk about anything else.
The Jet A1 is in your veins, although the medical side of it could be useful now.
You can say that again, John.
Yeah, with all the vaccine and the COVID conversations, it's good to have a medical background and to understand, what's moving forward. So we might come to that in a little bit, but I wanted, in the introduction, I talked a little bit and I let people in to discover for themselves the African Aviation Group on Facebook. I think at last count, it's nearly got 250,000 members. I think that's right. You can probably correct me on that. But tell me about why you created it and how it's become so successful and it's growing really, really quickly. And obviously, as a result of this, I'm sure it will grow even faster.
Thank you for that question, John. That group was created a couple of years ago. In fact, on the 3rd of March 2016. I was in my little office somewhere in the south of Nigeria, and that thought came to me. Initially, it was a group I created to flex about aviation, to gossip about aviation. I didn't have the intention of making it a large, internationally recognized group, but it has become a globally recognized group. I don't know how to explain it, but I wanted a group where I could talk with a few friends, talk about aviation, perhaps in an informal and unofficial way, but just a few months after the creation, boom, it grew and exploded, and it agreed my initial intention. Now it has become a group where we entertain, where we educate, where we inform. First of all, we have brought together African aviators and increasingly the world aviators, because we now have members from the UK, from India, from Dubai, from America, from Germany, from Italy, from China, from so many from Middle East, so many from Asia, and so many from America. You understand? It's no longer even an African aviation group. It's not a global aviation group. I can't explain how that happened. It must have been God and perhaps the passion. And I must say, thank you to I call them our forefathers, the first few members of the group who didn't know me, but they trusted me. They delighted in my content, and then they helped me to make the first sharing. And then got their members to join us, and then today we are almost 250,000 members in less than 5 years. It's a feat I don't know how to explain. I'm happy we've been able to successfully bring together African aviators. We have lots and lots of experts. We have, of course, have many pilots, aviation management experts. We have even the CEOs. We have COOs. You know, one or two of them. So it's been a success story for the past 5 years.
I really want to say a massive thank you, because especially during the pandemic, when digital is really all I have to connect with the industry, I love going on there and seeing what people are posting. And, I need to get more involved in terms of responding. And we've used it as well to promote things like our quiz. And, we've made all of our content free. And it comes down to a bigger point that when I started AviaDev, which wasn't that different, it was 2015, so similar time, there just wasn't readily available information for people that was easily accessible, freely accessible in a digital way. So part of the reason that we started the podcast was that people who are interested have a library of things they can go and find out about. What you've created is you've created an online community, which is very much what AviaDev's done as well. It's just obviously we're focused we're focused across the board, of course, but we're very much focused on sort of the route development and connecting Africa better with one another. So let's stay with the group. Any particular successes you've had, be it people getting jobs or people getting married, or I don't know, there must be some great stories.
I'll keep that marriage part in mind. John, we've had lots of successes recorded in the past 5 years. We have had massive successes. That basically not about me. The group is not about me. I'd like to say that. I'd like to make that clear. Sometimes they tell me, "Oh, I'm a member of your group." I tell them, "No, it's not my group. It is our group." So it belongs to all of us. Even though I am the admin, I'm the creator, it belongs to all of us pretty much. We've had lots of success in the group. To start with, like I said before, we've connected and reconnected African aviators, wherever they are. We have come to make people happy while educating them. We've come to entertain them while informing them. Perhaps the most important achievement for me is the fact that we have given some of our members scholarships on this platform. It's one of the things I don't know how to explain, but whenever I remember, it makes me really happy. We've given several members full-time and part-time scholarships. We've gotten some scholarship from University School of Aviation, both in Lagos and Abuja. They've given us scholarship for cabin crew, HLO, tourism management studies. We have also gotten scholarship from Kubu's Aviation College in Kampala, Uganda. They also gave us scholarship, about 10 or 20 of them, which we are still leveraging on. It's a gradual thing. By every 3 months, they give us some slots. It's something I just asked and I received. And in my interest that I did not know these guys. I have never met any of them physically. Do you understand? I just read an email. My name is this. I'm this. Please, can we partner with you? Can we have scholarship associate numbers? And they tell me that's no problem. I haven't been to any of their offices. So it's based on trust. It's based on trust, really. And it's something I don't know how to repair them. I don't know how to repair our members that have been there, that are the most committed members I've ever seen in any Facebook group. I'm not playing my trumpet, but that's who they are.
Yeah.
They're very trustworthy, very committed, and very they're always there for me. So I don't know how to reward them. So I began to think, how do we reward them? So I got scholarship. I talked to a few schools. We are still in talks with other aviation schools all over Africa and even outside Africa. Amazing. That's one of the things that's one of the things we have achieved. The other thing is that people have gotten jobs from our platform. You understand? This is a giving, really. People have gotten jobs from our platform. We collaborate with airlines and um, recruitment agencies, and we regularly post aviation related jobs in our group, and people are lucky. People get jobs even in this COVID-19 pandemic. People are still getting jobs from our platform. But let me tell you something. Sometime last year, we have a program I call Wednesday Crush Woman, the regular Wednesday Crush Woman. So on one of those programs, I featured a young lady from Ghana. I featured her. You understand? I interviewed her. I told her, I asked her what she wanted to be. She wanted to be a cabin crew, but she didn't have the opportunity to be a cabin crew. So I made that known in the group. You understand? So a few days later, someone chatted her up. As I speak with you, she's a flight attendant. You understand? Somebody chatted her up in our group and sponsored her training, and she became a flight attendant.
Incredible. You understand?
Working with a Middle East airline. It's not very easy to work with a Middle East airline. It's very, very difficult. You understand? So this is one of the things we have achieved in the group. So these are the successes we have achieved. And the other thing is that we have lots of programs in the group. We have, like I just mentioned, we have Jump Seat. You may have seen one or two Jump Seat programs. We have On the Spot. We have Convention to African Aviators. We have Career Guide. We have others. So once in a while, we bring in aviators from Africa, from outside Africa. We interview them. We talk to them. They give us their own perspective about the industry, their own personal perspective, and even how African aviation can grow. You understand? We've interviewed lots of them. We have interviewed Captain Solomon of Emirates, the guy that landed A380 in Accra a couple of years ago.
Yep.
We've interviewed Captain Solomon Ibinabo of Ryan Air. We interviewed Captain Jubril Said, formerly of Rwan Air, Asman Air, and Airpeace. We interviewed Captain Prince Adewale of Ibom Air, and many of them. And interestingly, again, John, I haven't seen any of these personally.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any of these. Just email, and perhaps one or two phone calls. So I'm glad that they're trusting me, that are coming around just because of the trust they have having me. And he said, trust, I don't want to do anything to betray. I want that trust to be intact. I don't want to do anything to betray that trust. So this is one of the things we have achieved. So in addition to scholarships and jobs, we have a lot of people. A lot of people thought they knew one or two things in aviation, but from the group, you can actually know that you didn't actually know anything. A lot of things I thought I knew in aviation, I didn't know them. So I'm actually learning. Even though I'm the creator of the group, I'm the admin, I'm learning from everyone. You understand? A lot of times people ask me questions. How can I achieve this? How can I achieve that? I tell them, please, I don't know so much about aviation. You can ask your question in the group. That's why they have a collection of experts. You understand? Whatever they tell you is the real answer. I may never be able to tell you what you need to know because I don't know much about aviation. I don't understand. I'm not an aviation expert, so to say, but it is my passion that is driving me through the aviation industry. So that has been the success in the group. And personally, perhaps the most important success is that I'm happy.
Yeah.
It makes me happy. You need to understand this. They need to understand this. I don't make money from the group. People think I make money from the group. I do not make money from the group. And it doesn't discourage me. I have never been discouraged because I don't make money. You understand? When the money will come, it will come. I didn't open the group because of money. You understand? So I don't make money from it, but it doesn't make me sad at all. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So that has been the journey, John.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities. I mean, if obviously another piece of content that's going to be on the Facebook group now is our podcast and YouTube video. So there's another thing. And, I'm exactly the same. I have great relationships with people I've never met. And they've been developed because we already were doing these things before the pandemic. Now, for me, it's the only option is to continue to speak to people on Zoom, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, whatever it may be. And yeah, I mean, we're very passionate, same as you, of providing value for free. So, we've done all these webinars this year and events and quizzes. We don't charge anybody to enter. It's just something that we want to give back to the community and bring those voices like yours, people who are passionate about this industry, to give them those voices. So I wanted to ask, you mentioned COVID, and we can't get away from it because we're in the middle of it. But I don't want it to be sort of a super negative question, but do you feel like the people on the platform, the young people, so not your experts, but the people who are discovering aviation for the first time, are there more of them, less of them? Are they now thinking, oh, I'm not sure this is the career for me, based on what they see in the news on a regular basis? What's your feedback on that?
John, this is a very important question. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit the airline industry in more ways than one. The industry, as you speak, is bleeding. The airlines are bleeding. Job prospects are getting slimmer and slimmer. That's a fact. But the other thing is that actually it's delicately poised. You can't away from the fact that COVID-19 has affected the industry in a negative way. And job prospects have also been affected. We can't run away from that. But the thing is it's actually a full baggage of mixed reactions. You understand? You're happy, you're sad. What makes you sad is that the opportunities out there are getting not too good, not too bright, even though not too bleak, but your passion is what is driving you. If you have a passion for what you do, then you can always be driven to at least hope that if it's not today, tomorrow, it will be better. I've been talking with a few people, many of them actually, and I get mixed reactions. They're not hopeless, even though they're a little discouraged. They are not hopeless. They are hopeful. They are bullish that sometime that the industry will bounce back. Like I told you, even in this pandemic, people are still getting jobs. So it's not a hopeless situation. It's as bad as it gets. But the people I've been speaking with are not hopeless. They are bullish. They are hoping that the next couple of years, perhaps in the next 2-3 years, that the industry will bounce back and they can always be where they have always wanted to be. The key thing is passion, being hopeful, and holding tenaciously to what you believe that is yours. If you lose hope now, it means that never even had passion for it. You understand? There are those who have already lost hope. You can understand that it's been a terrible situation for people, and not many people, not everybody will receive it the same way. People have different elastic limits. They have different reception for bad news and terrible things. There are people who will recover more easily than others. You understand? So it's a long journey. Although I know that some people recover faster than others, but it's a bad situation. Although the future is not bleak, it's actually very bright.
Yeah, I agree. I think, if you have an economic recession and there are 10 hairdressers, not that I'd know about those, but if there's 10 hairdressers in one street, only the best 2 or 3 are going to be able to be there to sustain the work. The bottom 7 are not going to make it. It's the same with any industry, but it's also the same with people. I meet African aviators, young African aviators all the time. And sometimes I see there's a dedicated passion. I will get there. And I've got lots of people like that. But for every one of them, there's 10 people who just wants a quick, I want a job, I need something now. And unfortunately, that isn't going to get you, that isn't going to make you stand out. The people who are committed to the industry now, when it's in its darkest days, are the ones that are showing that they are passionate about what they do. So I think that's a fantastic message, and I couldn't agree with you more. So let's just move into kind of looking at Africa generally. You're somebody who's got a passion for aviation, obviously what that then means, how that feeds into what happens when it comes to tourism. And a big thing, one of the reasons I set up AviaDev was to try and create more intra-African travel, more business between Africa, more tourism within Africa. And I think that this pandemic is weirdly potentially doing that. So how do you see this? Can you see people, Nigerians, instead of saying, hey, I want to go to Dubai on my holidays, they might say, hey, let's go to Nairobi, or let's go to Mombasa, or let's go to Zanzibar or Cape Town. Do you think this is going to happen, or will there still be this kind of international passion for tourism?
Actually, that's already happening.
Right.
At least I know in Nigeria, people are not traveling domestically in Nigeria. People are not traveling between Lagos and Cross River State and Akwa Ibom State to go and do holidays. It never happened before. Before now, all wanted to go to Dubai, guys wanted to go to Italy, wanted to go to Seychelles, understand for your holiday. But now as I speak with you, Africans are going to look inwards. You understand? When I went to Cape Town for the first time a few years ago, I began to marvel at the amount of beauty in Cape Town, Africa. I mean, I have been to other beautiful cities in the world. I've been to the Middle East, America, Milan, Florence, Rome. These are beautiful places. But when I got to Cape Town, I cried in a positive way because the amount of beauty I saw there was something I had never seen anywhere else in the whole world. So Africa is actually very beautiful. But
I agree with you. Yeah.
We do not have the information, and this quest of wants to be like somebody else is being eaten deep into our fabrics of tourism. An average African wants to be like a Westerner, which doesn't make any sense. You understand? I want to be like John when John actually wants to be like me. It makes no sense. You understand? Why can't we discover what we have in Africa and explore them? You understand? So this COVID-19 has been a blessing in disguise, if you ask me. So Africans are beginning to discover Africa in a special way. But one thing is this: there's a lot African airlines need to do in this.
Yeah.
Although I think Africans on their own parts are not very good at discovering Africa, but I think the airlines are not helping matters. I did an article for Advertise Africa magazine a couple of months ago, which I limited the importance of African airlines. One of the things they need to do is to develop intra-African travel. As I speak with you, it is not existing. It doesn't exist. It is easier to travel from Lagos to London than to travel from London to travel from Lagos to Gambia. Not just easier, it is cheaper. You understand? So what doesn't make any sense that I spend more money traveling from Lagos to Gambia than I spend on traveling from Lagos to London.
So go to London. You're going to choose to go to London, not to Gambia. Yeah.
Gambia is somewhere in the West Africa, just at my backyard, but I can't travel because there is poor air connectivity within Africa. So that's one of the things African airlines should work on. If there is poor connectivity, then Africans can't travel within Africa. So until African airlines develop these routes, European airlines, Middle East airlines fly to more points in Africa than African airlines, which makes no sense, John, if you ask me. Makes no sense.
Totally agree.
So the only thing that drives tourism is aviation. If Africa has a robust aviation industry, then it has to drive tourism in Africa.
So I couldn't agree with you more. I think that this is the exciting aspect of what's happening with COVID, is that suddenly there's a regionalization in terms of where the routes are going to now be developed. You're going to have potentially more regional aircraft flying shorter routes, domestic and regionally, more frequencies. That then brings the price down in an ideal world. I mean, it remains to be seen what happens now with the exciting development with the Continental Free Trade Area, which is coming in, SATAM, the visa situation, because that's something else that affects tourism hugely as well. It's really interesting for those of you watching on YouTube. You know, you said you want to be like me, whilst I want to be like you. You know, I'm wearing the Nigerian outfit here, and Dozie's wearing the suit and tie. So you know, we've already done that, which is great. It's all good fun. It's all good fun. So before we let you go, because I'm sure we'll do this again, and I really want to say well done with the Facebook group. But the big last question for you is, what do you love the most about aviation?
John, I love flying. If I weren't flying, I'm not sure I would love aviation as much as I do. There was a day I took 3 flights within 12 hours. I did Lagos to Accra, Accra to Milan, Milan to Florence in Italy. 3 flights in 12 hours, and I loved it.
Yeah.
In fact, I did that a few more times after the first one. So I love the aviation. There are many reasons why I love it, but flying, taking off and landing, I love those things. You understand? I don't know how to explain it, but they give me vitamin C and a lot of minerals, you understand, and even protein. So I love everything about flying, from boarding to when I'm booking my ticket on my laptop, I'm already excited.
Yeah.
So from my way to the airport, from check-in to boarding to taxiing to takeoff row to take off to banking, like banking to the left, banking to the right, to the cruise, initial descent, final approach, touchdown. I love this. I don't have nothing makes me happy like aviation, John.
That's amazing. And I think there's, I'm in the same boat, and you start to take it for granted when you travel quite frequently. And then suddenly my last flight was a return flight from Addis Ababa mid-March, just before the country here in the UK, before we locked down. And, I loved every minute of it, but if I'd known that was going to be my last flight for I don't know when, I don't have another one booked at the moment. So we'll have to see what happens in 2021. But I'm excited for the future. So I'm really hoping I get to come down and see you and the guys in Lagos, and we all get together for an event at some point in 2021.
Oh, you can invite us over.
It'll be fantastic. It'd be really fantastic. So I just want to say a massive thank you for joining us. I know we'll do this again because there's so much more to talk about, but well done on the Facebook group. Anybody listening, make sure you subscribe to you join the group, and you'll find a wealth of information there. And loads of people to connect with, people with a shared passion, and a fearless leader in Chidozie here, who's driving it forward. And thank you for what you're doing for African aviation. It's really exciting, and the future can be bright. So thanks again for joining us.
I'm glad I was here, John. Thank you.
My pleasure. So thank you everybody out there for listening and joining us today. I'm delighted to say we've just crossed the 160 countries globally now listen to this podcast. So I want to say a massive thank you at the end of 2020. It's an incredible achievement, really, for a podcast that was kind of cooked up 2.5 years ago in a bedroom. And we've reached the world, and hopefully we've given you some value with today's episode, and there's 147 other episodes to explore as well. So if you did enjoy the episode, all that we ask is you hit that share button and share it with one person in your network that you think will benefit from having a listen, and subscribe, and we'll see you for the next episode very soon. Take care, safe travels everybody, and we'll see you in 2021.